all these years later, I would be interviewing you on my radio show. Would never have dreamed it. So, Sam is going to start some music here in just a moment.
Okay.
And while he does that, we'll be quiet, and then I will do the introduction of some information about you. I wish I had time to go through it all, but I'll definitely get the highlights. And then we will start off with the show.
Okay.
Wonderful. So let's get started. If you can keep quiet on your end, Dr. Smith, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your computer, on your Wi-Fi radio, on your iPhone, commercial-free original talk, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and good afternoon. This is Dore with Troubled Teen Health right here on LA Talk Radio. And I apologize for getting the show started late. I had a few little phone things going on this morning, and I also think it's because of my excitement at having our guest on today. I'm very honored and privileged to have Dr. Smith with us today, who is somebody that I've come across in my past life, as I will say. And Dr. David Smith is the founder of the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinics, and he's also the chair of the Addiction Medicine at Newport Academy. Dr. Smith is going to speak to us today about treating today's adolescent substance abuser, and I know that this is a topic that many, many parents have expressed interest in, and I've received lots of emails and questions, and we'll do our very best to get through everything today while we have Dr. Smith with us. He is recognized as a national leader in the areas of the treatment of addictive diseases, and he has new research strategies and management of drug abuse problems and proper prescribing practices for physicians. As I said, he is the founder of the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinics in San Francisco, and we treat over 160,000 client visits per year in 23 sites in the San Francisco Bay Area. He's also currently the chair of adolescent addiction treatment for Newport Academy, which is a gender-specific comprehensive residential treatment center for adolescents suffering from substance abuse and co-occurring disorders in Orange, California. He also is the medical director for Centerpoint, which is a 6-month therapeutic community in San Rafael, California. And that is a private, not-for-profit corporation providing comprehensive services to at-risk individuals and families. So I could go on and on and on about all of the things Dr. Smith has done. I do want to add that he has authored and co-authored 26 books, written over 340 journal articles, and edited 28 journals, and has been a technical consultant for 28 drug abuse-related films. So he has a lot of information to share. If you have a question for Dr. Smith and you would like to call into the show, you may do that at 323-203-0815. And with that, Dr. Smith, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
As I said, it's a real honor and privilege to have you be here on the show today. And I do apologize for getting started late, so I hope we can get through all of the information that you want to share, and also a couple of questions that I've received from families. So let's talk about what the current trends are in adolescent substance abuse. I know that that's on everyone's mind today.
Well, I think I'm here at Newport Academy, which is I come down once a month where I serve as chair of addiction medicine. And it's a program specializing in adolescents addiction, which is, the whole issues of adolescent addiction is on the forefront of the National Institute of Drug Abuse. I think the key finding is the peak incidence for the onset of addiction is between ages 15 and 21. If you have developed an addiction problem before the age of 15, it increases the severity of the disease, requiring more intensive treatment, including residential treatment. But that only about 10% of adolescents that meet DSM-5 criteria for drug abuse and addiction get treatment. So in this sense, addiction medicine is now a board-certified medical specialty. And if I said that the peak incidence for, let's say, other chronic diseases, addiction is a chronic relapse, a potentially fatal disease, but the peak incidence for, say, diabetes was between 15 and 20, but we don't intervene until adulthood, you would say, well, that doesn't make sense. So the National Institute of Drug Abuse has stressed the importance of increasing interventions early to arrest the progress of this very severe and potentially life-threatening addiction. Substance abuse in all of its forms represents the leading cause of morbidity and mortality in adolescence. We're not talking about some minor league thing. The big new aspect of adolescent addiction, I've worked with adolescent addiction now for 45 years in many different settings, down on the street, in the criminal justice system, in middle and upper class populations here in Orange County. The big increase is the increase in prescription drug abuse. The leading cause of death amongst adolescents is drug overdose death, particularly prescription drugs like OxyContin. This exceeds deaths with highway fatalities in adolescents, which of course much of that is alcohol and drug driving. But there's no question that substance abuse in all of its forms is the major cause of morbidity and mortality in adolescence. And yet, most communities and families do not react to it until there is a crisis, like an overdose death, serious problems in the school system, a fatal auto accident, drug driving. So that there's clearly a denial, particularly denial as you move up the socioeconomic ladder, because the drug problem on the street, where I have worked most of my career, there's a lot of law enforcement down there. But as you move up the socioeconomic ladder, the interaction is more with the medical system, and much of the medical system is not trained in issues relative to addiction. So we have a huge need to recognize that addiction is an equal opportunity disease. It is the leading problem amongst adolescents, but we've got to mobilize the medical system and the families and communities. The communities that have a rampant drug problem in it are in denial. They say, well, it's just down on the street. It's not in our schools. In fact, the evidence is, particularly the prescription drug problem, the incidence of that increases as you move up the socioeconomic ladder. The schools are in denial because they're afraid that if they recognize that there's a drug problem in a school, the parents will pull their kids out of private school. And that mechanism of denial operates until somebody dies of an overdose, or there's a car accident, or kids drop out of school, or somebody gets busted for dealing in the school. Or families say, well, where are all these drugs coming from? The biggest source of supply for prescription drug misuse is the family's medicine cabinet. So here at Newport Academy,
I hear that more and more with